Okay. Here we are at session 10. Back in session 9, the group made it into the clothing store. Noticed a few oddities inside of it, but didn't see any monsters in there. You found that the register was still full of money. After that, you made it into the into the main part of the mall again. It was still as dark as it was when you went in. But passing through it, you managed to get to the entrance of the anchor store. And so the whole reason you guys cut through the clothing store, and I didn't mark it down in my notes, was that one of you, or maybe several of you, ended up hearing some sounds in the back hallways and decided, you know what, let's just cut through a store. So you've come to the anchor store, which is a pretty big department store, but aimed more at like camping, hunting, fishing, sporty sort of stuff.
Bass Pro Shops.
Yeah, Bass Pro. What we have over where I live, there's a place called Dick's Sporting Goods.
Oh yeah.
Or there's what is it called? Not Aldi. That's a food place. There's another place that starts with an E, maybe Andy's something or another. There's this big like camping store. Uh, I just forget its name, but something like a cross between a Dick's and that. So probably a Bass Pro Shop would also be mixed in there, but not shaped like a pyramid. You guys made your way into the back storage area for this big store, and unfortunately, you were making a bit too much noise, and you were set upon by one of those white humanoid creatures that clings to the ceiling and it follows by sound. It dropped down upon you, and a fight ensued. It ended up with two of you, one of which was the NPC with you, the little boy, were badly hurt, blood everywhere. Um, so there are two major injuries at this point, but the thing is dead, thankfully. It's kind of melting in between you guys. And somewhere in a puff of smoke, or maybe just when your back was turned, the little kobold seems to have gone missing. But in his place, Nora is there, possibly getting blood on the lower half of her body. She can see.
Yeah, with a tail, I'm probably like mopping the floor with
Yeah.
it as I move around.
Yeah. She could see Ralph, probably exact. Ralph, you're covered in blood right now, right? Stony?
Yeah. I forgot I was muted.
Uh,
But yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I did do the last shot, and plus I'm almost dead.
Yeah. So
I still got like.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I still got the major wound condition.
Yeah. So I'm guessing that you're like probably leaned up against one of the shelves at this point, like trying to keep the blood soaking your clothing. Nora could also see that the small boy, because she can see in the dark, is also coated in blood, curled up against one of the things. He's breathing, but he is also like kind of like holding, I believe, the side of his neck, and just kind of rocking a bit, and there's like just blood everywhere. What would she like to do?
Look for the monster.
It's a dead body laying on the ground. It seems to be smoking a bit, which is a little odd. Like it's dissolving.
Can I investigate it and try to see why?
If you want. Ralph, what are you doing to staunch the wounds here? Nora seems to be distracted. What you're bleeding pretty badly. What do you do?
I'm just sitting here right now.
I'm sorry. What'd you say?
I'm just sitting here right now.
All right. So let's see. Let me check my notes. Let me check the book on how to handle bleeding and bad injuries at this point, and see what I should have you roll. Because if this was D&D rules, I would 100% make you roll Constitution. I think that's probably what we're gonna need to roll here, but let me double check. Okay, so let's see. You have a major wound, but you succeeded on not falling unconscious, which was good. You're not currently dying unless something bad happens.
Okay, so I'm less of an asshole for looking at this thing. I'm still an asshole, but at least he's not going to die because I made that choice. I'm not Bevan, or not Rick.
Yeah. No, it's just that I wanted to see what your character would do, and your character is focused on the dead body because, well, maybe she can't do anything else, and she's stressed out because she just kind of reappeared. Let's see.
Honestly, I'm not sure she noticed anybody other than the dead body, just because, oh crap, it's one of those things again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah. To be effective, first aid must be delivered only within hours, so you still have plenty of time for that. The big problem is because this is a stronger rule set, healing is something that takes time. So you're gonna need rest or find some magical way of getting yourself healed up some, which is very difficult with the current situation. So at the moment, yes, I believe that's all you can do at this time. You can also be treated if somebody has a medicine skill. So basically, you need a combination of first aid and a medicine check.
Ignore that.
So, sorry. Let's take these in order. Nora, you are investigating a body on the ground. So, let's roll an investigation check. Which
ignore the
is
sanity. I was trying to expand
in this
my
case
character sheet.
spot hidden. Sorry, because I don't think there's an
Spot hidden.
investigation in this game in this system.
There isn't.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is weird because the characters
I'm
are
gonna
called.
really regret using that next time.
I said, which is weird because characters are called investigators.
Right?
Yeah.
PI is like one of the things you can be, but you can't investigate.
So we're just gonna go spot hidden. I'm gonna use that for investigation skill, maybe with a bit of history or intelligence or possibly wisdom, depending on what the scene calls for. All right, so you basically bend down since you have a nice snaky body. You don't need to stretch much. You're just kind of like leaning over a bit and contorting your body, but it's much easier than if you had knees because knees can be painful if they're squatting like this. And take a look at the body. You notice that it's hard to tell exactly what its blood is, but it seems to be somewhat dissolving from contact of one of the other bloods that's on it. There's like you can tell from your investigation skill. There's like three kinds of blood. There's like sort of a normal coagulating blood that you would recognize from like most people. There's another blood that seems to be a bit darker, and that's the blood that appears to be having you basically are seeing more wisps of steam coming off of those sections where that blood is. And then there's a very, very pale blood, which you get the impression is actually what this creature bleeds.
Okay. Looking around, is it like obvious that the elf child is bleeding the second kind of blood, or do I have any idea where it came from without asking people?
I'm gonna have you roll an intelligence check.
Okay. And that's at the top, right?
Mhm.
Finally, something I'm good at. Is it showing up?
Yeah, yeah. You glance over at the elven child and glance back over at your companion Ralph. And it seems like the kid's blood is slightly darker.
Okay. Yeah, we can go to Ralph.
And what do you do?
Me? Oh, I said we can switch to Ralph because he had stuff to do too. And I was gonna check on them next anyway. So
Hey, so how long would I have to rest to get the major wound removed, or at least
This
not
would
be as bad?
this would be an affair of weeks, probably. Under the system.
Ouch.
Yeah. It's not like D&D where you can just nap for a day and regain a good chunk of your hit points. No, no, no. This is a hard system.
Good thing I
We're
got
all,
that one bullet.
we're all spoiled from D&D and just be able to rest to heal. But that's the kind of the point, which is why I switched it from D&D. It's like I wanted this game was meant for harder consequences of being injured, harder of needing to run away, of having to conserve ammo, all that good stuff.
Okay.
it's 1 HP a day, right? That you get back.
All right, so how about I read this out to you guys since you're asking? Major wound recovery. A con roll should be made at the end of each week of game time that the major wound box is ticked. If the con roll is failed, no recovery takes place that week. On success, 1d3 hit points are recovered. On extreme success, 2d3 hit points are recovered. And you can add a bonus die if the character has complete rest in a comfortable environment, such as home or in a hospital or any of that. Add a bonus die if the character receives effective medical care. The caregiver with the highest medicine skill should be able to make one medicine skill roll at the end of the week before the patient's con roll is made. You add a penalty die if the character is in poor environment, such as right now, and is unable to take sufficient rest, and or a fumble was rolled on the doctor or nurse's medical skill. So yeah,
Holy shit.
major injuries are not good.
Nope.
Yeah, that thing got a really nasty early hit on him, and the other character was unconscious because he went insane.
Oh, good. Wait, you go unconscious when you go insane?
That was the insanity he got. Basically, he saw something that his mind couldn't handle, and it zonked him. So he just kind of fell unconscious for almost a minute while the battle was going on. Basically, there was a bunch of guns flying around, and it just took him that long to get back up. So he missed a bunch of rounds as a result. Yeah, it was a bad fight.
Yeah. Wow. Um, Okay, well, I'm gonna check I have a medicine skill of 1, so I can't do
Oh, okay,
shit
so
to help
nobody
you
has a good
guys.
medicine skill. That's
It's technically possible for me to meet it. That's it. Um, uh,
but more than likely you'd fumble
but
it and make things worse.
yeah, I'm not even gonna try. Like, I'm gonna stand with my hands behind my back and go, "Are you okay?" I'll go ask if he's okay.
I've never been better.
um, well, it doesn't look like it's farting, so I guess that's good. Do you need bandages? I think last time I was here, the kid had bandages. Should I go get some?
Yeah, better than
Okay, the
nothing.
kid has a nin. Hmm?
That's a better than nothing.
Okay. Grizz, the the kid has a ninja symbol on him. Can I see him?
Sorry, it's not meant to be a ninja symbol. He was hiding, and then I forgot to take the symbol off of him when he stopped hiding. I forgot that was there.
Okay. I'm gonna do this like hands behind my back. Are you okay? Um,
He kind of like looks up at you with his big blue eyes and just kind of blinks and kind of goes, "No, do I look okay?"
no. Um, can I have some of your bandages for Ralph?
He kind of thinks for a moment and then realizes that he has bandages and starts digging in his pack one-handed. Kind of pulls out two and kind of rolls one over to you as he starts seeing what he can do with the one he has.
I will pick it up from where he rolled it on the ground, super hygienically, and take it over to Ralph. Here's hoping. Is infection a concern in these roles? Oh, I will give the bandage to Ralph.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I helped.
So do I need to roll anything right now?
Let me take a hold on. Let me look at the character sheet skills for a moment and see if there's something in particular you need to use. Yeah, the first aid kit will need to be. I'm sorry, the first aid skill will need to be used for this. Let's see if it helps
Oh,
stopping the
that's
bleeding.
different from medicine?
Yep, medicine is used after the first aid kit. So he's like trying and failing to bandage up his wounds at this point.
Oh, I have a better first aid. I'll try.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, so basically, Ralph starts winding the bandage around the worst of his wounds. Nora, you see that his hand is probably trembling because of the major wound. You know, that's shock, potential shock, and
Yeah.
all of that. It's just shaking out of, not under his control. So she would then probably grab it and then start winding it more correctly and, secure it with the little clasp things. It's starting to soak through, but you made sure to like put a one of those what is it, gauze pads under there.
Mm.
I don't know enough about first aid to make a proper judgment call, but I've seen it enough. All right.
Okay. Since I now realize I have the first aid skill, I'll go back to the kid and try to use it on him too.
Okay, go for it. All right,
Holy cow.
you
North on
successfully
fire
bandage him
tonight.
up. I never remembered you having that skill. It's like that's why I was like shocked about the medicine. I was like, huh. And then it's like, oh yeah, no, she has the skill. She doesn't necessarily have the best medicine. Like she can't treat fully treat a major wound, but she can stop the bleeding.
I'm really glad you explained those are separate because,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I can't do shit with medicine.
Ether.
All right, I forgot about the edit.
Okay.
Switching.
Yeah, I will I will bandage him up, and then is there any used gauze or anything around with his blood on it that's not being used currently on his wounds, the
Uh,
kid's wounds?
no, because no, because he hadn't tried to
Expected.
apply it to himself yet before you came back and fixed it for and did it for him.
But he was injured when we found him.
The injuries had been days before when you found him, and he was healing from that injury.
Okay. Is there any of his blood on the ground?
Yes, but it's also mixed with the creature's blood and with Ralph's blood.
Okay, then can I tell if the creature's blood is evaporating from contact with it?
Give me an intelligence check. It's like you stare at it for a while, and that doesn't appear to be what's happening. It seems like the creature, the dead body is just slowly dissolving in general, but not the blood specifically for evaporating.
Okay. I was going to try to put some of his blood on the creature and see if that caused the dissolving to speed up in that area, but I guess he's not his blood isn't the blood that was causing it. And there's no like specifically labeled kobold blood that I can try. Correct.
No, you have no idea if your other companion
Okay.
was injured or not.
All right. Well, I helped. Hey, where are we? I'm gonna ask Ralph and the kid.
What?
Where are we?
Come down supply room.
There's a big supply room. Okay.
For one of the bigger department stores in the mall.
Yeah. Just for a side note, Nora, because I told them this last week. That I basically it's a better map than the previous one, but it doesn't show specifics. Like it's not it's showing the general size, but just increase it a bit. For what the store is, and then the back room isn't marked off on the map. It's just it's theater of the mind, and there are a bunch of shelving units in the way. So you see basically around you a bunch of dark shelves filled with various overstock.
Okay, that helps because yeah, I'm seeing like this space is just freaking enormous for a storeroom, but for an anchor store, that makes a lot more sense. Is there anything useful on the shelves around us?
Technically, any of it can be useful. It is a it is a camping store. Camping, supply, hunting, all that sort of store. What specifically are you looking for?
At this point, first aid supplies.
Give me a luck roll, please. Yeah, the spacing between them is mostly just for the fight. All right.
Holy,
You go to another shelf. Well, most of everything is like packaged, and the boxes are all like closed up and everything like that. You notice laying loose is a fresh package of first aid.
sweet. I will put that in
So you
my
can
bags.
add a first aid kit to your possessions.
That is a very useful thing to have.
should we get moving?
I didn't hear that.
What?
Sorry, what did you say? I didn't hear that.
I said, should we get a move on?
Oh, yeah, it's up to you guys, but maybe we should if we can get back to the tavern in town, there might actually be people there who know how to heal.
We're gonna get out of here first.
Yeah. You guys have any idea how to get out of here?
There's a door in front of us.
There is that.
You see beyond you more of that corridor you've been traveling before, but this section is much wider. And you can see marks on the floor that lead to service entrances in the back, a loading dock.
Loading dock? That has to go outside, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Let's do it.
So which way do they lead?
Is your token accessible, Nora?
Oh, sorry. Um, oh, that door. Yeah, I have no idea how we came in, so sorry.
All right. Yeah. So the loading dock area has two big bays that are rolled down, but there's also a door to the outside that clearly it locks from the outside in such a way that you can get out from it, but you probably can't get back in the same way unless you have a key.
Okay. We can. All right, since I'm the least injured, where's this door?
It's theater of the mind.
Okay. Since I'm the least injured, I'm gonna push the door open and stick my head out and see if there's anything out there waiting to chomp us.
All right, give me a spot hidden check.
It'd be a really bad time to finally get that. That's a really bad time to get that.
Nothing but darkness, trees, and what just feels like oppressive silence.
Looks clear. Let's go.
Which way?
You're the local.
I was talking about which way to the arrow point.
Oh, you'd want to go south from here, aka down.
Okay.
The what? Do you mean to change the map?
Yep, that's
You
what I
changed
was.
the map.
Yeah, that's what I was working on while you guys were moving. I was just getting the star in place to where you are now.
Okay.
Oh, where did the star go?
It's right there, the north end of the map.
Oh. Right. Okay. Let's head straight down the street and see if we can make it back to the watering hole.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just I can't see this part of the map, but I'll just
Well, that's because I
I
have to
can
make
move it
that.
and
No. That's because I need to make
okay.
I need to make rolls to see if anything hampers you on your way there.
Okay.
The sections that I haven't revealed yet. There's a purpose to it being dark.
Crap.
All right.
Right. What are we passing?
You see, let's see. Ralph would know that this is the city hall building that you're currently passing by. To the east, to the west.
What? Okay. So far, nothing.
So far, nothing.
I'm okay with it.
As you continue to go south,
Tell me when I need to stop again.
stop at the supermarket, and I'll do one last roll. Nope, everything good.
I do not want to fight the thing in the supermarket. That thing was huge. All right. Is someone still holding the door to the watering hole open?
All right. I will describe in a second. The group of you carefully move along the streets, heading to the south. I imagine since both are majorly wounded, both both the kid and Ralph are moving pretty slowly, possibly limping along. Nora keeping pace with them so that she can do her best to keep them safe, perhaps. Or maybe she just doesn't want to be alone. Who knows? At any rate, the three of you make your way down towards the watering hole. And you see the door is, as it was before, ever slightly open, basically keeping the relative time between the two spaces the same.
Okay, I will knock on the door.
The door opens a bit wider, and a familiar dwarf face peeks around the edge and just kind of stares at you. Oh, you're back. Well, you don't look good, and you appear to be missing someone and have a new person with you. Kind of like looks
Yes.
at the kid and looks at Ralph. Well, come in. We can get him laying down a bit and see. Well, get him some rest.
All right. Is the drow still here?
Yes.
Yes, she is. How does everybody look in the tavern?
Give me a spot hidden check.
God.
You don't say anything off here.
Okay. I will help get the others settled.
Okay, so even though I don't have them depicted on the map, there are benches and the like against this wall over here. Basically, places that you can use as makeshift beds.
And we'll get them settled. And actually, how long has it been? Like, how long have I been awake? Is it appropriate for me to sleep too?
Give me a Constitution check. Yeah, you're feeling pretty tired.
All right, I will also sleep.
Guess I will sleep too.
As you go to lay down, Ralph, one of the other people in the tavern, basically comes over. They look like they're in medical scrubs. Looks like maybe they were a nurse at the hospital. It's hard to tell much about them. It looks like they've been in this tavern and probably wearing the same clothes for a couple of weeks now. So it's a little off. But they come over, they check on you. Uh, they kind of like do anything that they can, like maybe they rub some antibiotic on your wounds, all of that, and nod. And basically, this serves as a medical stabilization. I did a roll that said that they stabilized you. So congratulations on that. After they leave you, they go and check on the kid.
If I stay awake and watch, will I be able to tell if the kid is stabilized as well?
Uh, give me a intelligence check.
Okay.
All right. The kid winces in pain as the medical person looks over their injuries. The medical person dabs some stuff on the kid, but they seem to be frowning a bit and just kind of like giving you a grim look before walking away to wherever they were doing before. They don't seem to be interested in talking.
Okay. But it was not the metaphorical thumbs up that treating Ralph was.
That would be correct. Looks like they had good success
Okay.
with treating Ralph. It's unclear because Ralph is already starting to feel a little bit better. Like not basically more of the I don't feel like I'm bleeding out anymore sort of feeling. Whereas they didn't give any good impressions when they took a look at the kid and tried doing something with him. So yeah.
Okay. Oh, you know what? Actually, um, I I if I sleep in front of the kid, can I block access to him? Like if he's in a booth, can I sleep at the front of the booth?
You can try. I mean, you're a snake person. You can curl up and sleep there. You don't actually need a good. While you might like things like, example, maybe a hammock because those are comfy, or a pile of pillows. Uh, as a snake person, laying flat isn't a particularly comfortable experience. So curling up in front of the booth seems like a better way of sleeping than what they're doing.
Okay, I will curl up in front of the kid's booth, um, in case anybody has had the dreams and tries to come sacrifice him while he's asleep. Uh, I will sleep there instead.
All right.
And if I'm sleeping, do I get my health point back?
Yes, you do. Give me a Constitution roll, please.
Both of us.
Let me check the. Let me check with the. You have a major wound, so that's basically the problem with major wounds is that you don't actually heal on a daily basis.
Oh yeah, you said weekly.
Yeah. If the character needs effective medical care, the highest medical skill should make one. The medical skill roll. The end of the week is when you get the thing, and then when you basically have healed up enough to no longer have a major wound, that's when you start healing on the day. Yeah, the Call of Cthulhu is brutal for that sort of system.
Oh yeah.
But we'll find a way of dealing with that in this part. So yeah. Okay. This was actually a good roll to fail, because it meant that you were not sleeping deeply. You regain your health point, but you kind of are sensing a couple of people standing nearby, uh, kind of staring at the booth that you're in front of. They seem to be whispering to each other.
Hell nuts. I will try to wake up and listen.
Give me a listen check, please.
Holy cow.
Oh, so yeah, they're talking about it. One of them is saying, uh, is saying is all we have to do is to take the is to take the boy and we can get out of this mess. Another one saying, yeah, that boy's not natural either. Look at him. Look what's happened since he's been laying there, and all that. All we have to do is take that freak over to the dream lady, and all this will be over. We can get out of here.
Can I crack one eye open and see if anything's actually happened in the tavern since he's entered it?
The tavern looks pretty much the same. The kobolds are gathering at the kobolds are gathering at another table since the the weird group is gathering nearby. But other than that, it looks pretty much the same.
I guess, yeah, they said since he's been here, so there's no way of knowing if they mean in town or in the
Yeah.
booth or in the, yeah. I was just wondering if like the walls were dripping blood or something. All right. I will get up and stand in front of the kid.
All right. The people that were whispering to each other now like are facing you. The lady in front just puts her hands on her hips. It's like, oh, you're awake. She grumbles.
Yes, and you are not sacrificing this child to the creepy dream lady on no evidence.
That doesn't look too much like a child. Looks like another one of those freaking abominations almost. Or maybe half turned or whatever.
Okay, racist. He's part elf. That doesn't make him an abomination.
The other person behind her kind of like stares at you for a moment and goes, he's half elf. I didn't even see that among the scales.
Okay, I'm gonna look at the kid.
You look behind, and you'd seen the kid was like, badly hurt before. He had those injuries. Right now, mentally, I'm forgetting if he's the one that got bit on the neck or if it was Ralph. Ralph, do you happen to remember where he was bitten? Because I completely forgot to actually take note of that.
What'd you say?
You don't happen to remember where the kid was bitten, do you? Because were you the one that was bitten on the neck? Because I could have sworn it was you, and I'm not 100%.
I don't know.
Brain and me failing to take the proper notes that I needed for this. Okay, I think it was you that was bitten in the neck, and I forget exactly where the kid was bitten, but I'm gonna say it was like ripped up a bit, like scratched and bitten, and more than just where the teeth claimed sunk in. Like maybe it was like raked across a cheek, raked into the shoulder, all that sort of stuff. You could see where he was like bitten and scratched, and was bleeding, and then like especially where you were wrapping that bandage. Uh, instead of like blood soaking through it, like some of the bandage is still a bit like dark red, from blood, but it looks like some black scales have now sprouted up in those areas, as if like they've instead of regular coagulated blood, he's now got scales in those places, trying to seal the injuries closed. And he doesn't look quite as badly hurt as he was before. Unlike, even though the medical professional seemed to think that he was not in a good way.
Huh. Um, I'm gonna wake him up and ask him about
No, no,
it.
no. He's not. He's not awake. That's all right. I forgot to say that that's in the other thing. He's not asleep. He's actually just sitting there rocking back and forth very quietly, like holding his arms over
Oh,
around his knees and just kind of rocking.
hey, buddy. How are you doing? I'm like try to talk to him as gently as possible without turning my back on the people behind us.
So my skin's itching.
Uh, yeah, it looks like it would be itchy. Have you looked at it recently?
No, but the pain is mostly gone. It's just itching.
Okay. Take a look for me.
Kind of like stares at you. It it says, I, my cheek, my shoulder. I can't see those.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought he had it around his middle too.
Oh, yeah. I yeah, it was more like stuff that's not easy to see.
Okay. Uh,
Not easy for him to see. It's not for
I
other people to see.
yeah. Um, I guess I'll touch his cheek scales and see if they feel weird.
Uh, they're 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 not anywhere near the type of scales that you have. They definitely feel like they are made out of like harder scale material, like a bit sharper, more. Um, where yours are pretty. The term silky comes to mind over a good portion of your body, and other parts that are harder for you to reach might be more um tougher, but like your palms, your your midsection, the more flexible parts are all silky. So this definitely feels more tough than that.
Okay. Is this where it itches?
A bit.
It looks like you're growing some scales. Scales are cool. I gesture downwards. But is this something that like has this happened before in your family? Is this something that might be from your magic?
Um. He kind of like pauses for a moment. I I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, um, my my mom is has half elf, and my dad's human.
Okay. Um, well, that's worrying. We're gonna keep an eye on it. Uh, I need to go check Ralph, but I don't want to leave the kid where the people can grab him. Um, can you come with me for a second? I want to look at Ralph and see if he's got scales too.
Okay. He nods and takes your hand, just like, the way a kid does.
Okay, I'm gonna go look at Ralph.
Uh, Ralph seems mostly okay. He seems, as human as he was before, just maybe a little pale from the loss of blood, but he does seem to be doing okay.
Huh. Did the monster do anything to you that he didn't do to Ralph?
The kid frowns and just kind of scrunches his mouth. I don't know. I was hiding during as much of the battle as I could. It only came after me when I tried to move.
Okay, and sorry to ask about something traumatic, but I did notice you were injured when we first met. How did that happen?
Kind of like looks behind him towards the people gathered. They're like backing up a little bit because they're getting also looks from other people in the room. Uh, he kind of like looks at them for a moment and then looks back and kind of like does that thing like where the kid is kept t- tip puts his hand to his mouth and tries to signal for you to move closer to his mouth.
I'll do it.
All right. Uh, it was the the skeleton. She did that to me. She took a knife and ran it across my arm, pulling blood out of me. Said she needed it.
Right.
She
Remind me where the skeleton was again.
um she, she took me to a weird temple. Um
Right.
there was a lot of like glowing lights and some gold and then there was the temple room. There was an altar and there was a statue. The statue looked sad. It looked like a woman and she looked sad. Kind of shakes his head. That's all I remember.
Okay. Um, no snake, nothing with scales in the temple.
No, nothing like you. No. There
Well,
was
any sort of
there was a
scales,
demon.
like kobolds, dragons.
I think he had some scales, but they're all red in color.
Do they look tough, like thick
I I
scales?
I didn't really look at him.
Okay. Right. You said there was a demon and a devil, right?
Uh, well, no, there was a big demon guy. I'm pretty sure he's a demon. He had wings and four arms, and sometimes he turned into this kind of shadowy form, but it was all like this red shadowy form and all. Uh, but then there was these little. I could have sworn were devils. The little tiny ones with the wings. What are they called? Imps. Yeah, imps, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were flying around too. They were like hanging out, like as if watching. Uh, but yeah, but if he was I've heard about demons and devils, and they don't like each other, right? But I'm sure he was a demon, not a devil. I don't know why that is exactly. It's just. Oh, I know why. He flips his fingers and then leans closer to you again. It's because he was speaking in abyssal. they were speaking abyssal to each other, and then he switched to infernal when talking to the little guys at one point. I didn't understand what he was saying then. He's like whispering something about a book to the skeleton lady.
So do you speak abyssal?
Kind of has this kind of intense look, looks away for a moment, and then whispers even more so towards says, yeah, I don't know why. I've always known abyssal. And he kind of like gets a strange look. That's why I was being taught about demons and devils. The look on his face is kind of haunted. He's got this like haunted, far away look in his face. It's like, yeah, I don't like the fact that I know this is something bad. And I shouldn't be telling people that, but I think you need to know.
Yeah. Thank you for trusting me. I'm not going to tell those people that. Did the imps have scales?
She shakes his head.
Okay. We'll try to figure out what's going on with you. I'm gonna kind of. Would you be willing to come talk to somebody who might know something?
I guess.
All right. Hey, Ralph. Has it been long enough that it's not mean to wake Ralph up?
Mm,
Like, has it been a full
Ralph,
night?
can you give me a Constitution check, please? You're feeling most more or less actually no with a hard Constitution check. And I've read this on the Major Moon Recovery. And because we don't want to have you stuck here for an entire week, I'm going to give you the grace of healing you one point for a hard success in your Constitution check. You're actually feeling a bit better than you would have expected as you wake up hearing Nora's voice. And you can see her and the kid hovering next to you. The kid, something seems to be a bit wrong with the kid, even though he is looking healthier than maybe he should have. He's also got some weird scaly patches along his face where he'd been cut. All these weird black scales.
What do y'all want? Why'd you wake me up?
Hey, we were gonna go talk to the drow about what we found and see if she has any insight about what's going on. I wondered if you're feeling up to it, would you like to come talk to her? Or I can try to bring her over to your booth so that you don't have to stand. I don't know if she'll be willing to do that, but I can try it.
We can go talk to her.
Okay. All right, let's go do that.
The drow seems to be munching on some kind of flat bread and has what looks to be a small ale next to her. She looks up. Oh, I see you've returned. And she kind of looks at the kid and cocks an eyebrow. How strange. And looks back at you.
Hey, so you guys both, you and Akai here, both come from families that were around when the old kingdom fell. And we've been looking into what's going on. We had some really weird experiences, and we found a tablet, and I wanted to get your perspective on things.
A tablet?
Yeah, I'm going to give her the tablet that we found. It's oh, that's going to be my handout. It's
It's
Tablet
tablet
M.
M. I can see that from here because it's the only one that has a marker next to it that I've handed it out to other people.
Ah, okay.
Hmm. Very interesting. Some sort of curse. Sealing a cursed victim away, trying to help them. All right. Well, I can tell that backfired spectacularly now, didn't it? And she hands you back the tablet.
Okay. Um, can you tell which civilization this was from, or like, is it relevant? Do you know any stories that this might be about? That is there any lore that this ties into?
She shakes her head. I'm afraid not. I'm not a historian. I'm a theoretician.
Okay, so about theories, we've been moved all over town. We keep being separated from our friends, and it's like no time passed. But then we come back, and we're in a different place. And there's been like we went down some stairs, and suddenly we were in the past. And then we went up some
In
other
the
stairs, and we were
past,
back.
she kind
Yeah,
of
we
looks
met the
intrigued at
king.
that.
He was a jerk.
King, that would have been what? Whenever that old kingdom is here, that was. She shakes her head. I really don't know how long ago that was. But but that is fascinating. And then she thinks for a moment and goes, "Are you sure it was the past and not another plane of existence?"
Uh, I, as the player, was, but it may have been an assumption I made.
She looks between the three of you. Because the king is dead, but would be been long dead. So, were you speaking to a man or a spirit?
How would we know the difference?
We didn't stay long enough
I
to
mean, his
find out.
guards. Sorry.
So we didn't stay long enough to find out.
Yeah,
I
his guards looked
see.
very real and very solid, and he ordered them to attack us. So we booked.
I see. And what did this past look like?
Well, there was a big throne. And there was a king, and there were these guards in
So you immediately ran from the guards and
weird
arrived in another
armor.
place in the present?
Well, we ran through streets full of people.
Oh, see, that's what I was asking. What did that past look like? What you see besides this king? What was around you?
Honestly, Grizz, I was focused on the running. What was around us? I don't know how to answer this question.
Okay, so you want to do a memory jog, which will be an intelligence check.
Unless Stoney has it.
Yeah, unless you either remember physically or have notes that you can reference to remember, you'll have to roll. You'll have to give me an intelligence check for me to tell you what you saw again. Yeah,
Yeah.
everything of what you're telling her now is what you remember personally, Nora. As for Stony, Stony, you remember running along. You remember sort of there being people, but not exactly, because they were see through. You could see right through them.
Oh yeah. Totally forgot about that. So, Sony, do you want to take over explaining it to her?
Oh, you said that I remembered that they were see-through.
Yeah, if you want to tell her about it, you can, or you can give it to yourself. It's up to you.
Oh yeah, I'll tell her.
Yeah, she kind of looks at Ralph and listens to his explanation about running and seeing see-through people, but just being so busy with trying to run away from those things that it might not have registered at the time about seeing see-through people. She goes, and she nods and goes, "Ah, good, good. That was more in line with what I was expecting. I imagine you found yourselves in the plane of shadow, the Shadowlands."
What's that?
It is a place. It is the upper layer of the underworld, so to speak. The dead drift there, ones that are unclaimed by gods, typically. Sometimes those trapped in a traumatic memory of sorts, unable to move on. Sometimes the plane between life and death shatters, creating little pockets that create their own pocket dimensions, as it were. If this was in pure D&D turn, she'd be calling them domains of dread at this point. Uh, just to give you an example of what they are. Sometimes they have living things in them, but most of the time it's the souls of the dead. Uh, their shadows, their ghosts. It is a precarious place for the living, and for those of pure
Hey,
spirit. But that's
the king wasn't see-through, and he was a monster like the kind that we've been seeing all over town.
she nods. Well, I imagine the because perhaps perhaps what that is showing is that even back then this happened, and that those who have been transformed do not move on, that they're stuck in such places. That the see-through people might be the ghosts, or they might simply be echoes, memories of people that were once there.
Does any of this help us have a better understanding of what's going on now or how to stop it?
Yes, you brought up the past, and I said I have no knowledge of the past. I am not a historian. What you might need is a historian, or perhaps a better look into the past. And she kind of looks between you and Ralph and goes, what do you know of your own history in this area? Are you from the city?"
You lived here briefly as a child. I don't remember a lot. Ralph is from here.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do now, Ralph, is you can give me a history check to see what you remember from history class.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, it's like one of those things we're all in history class and we're like, why do we need to learn this stuff? And it's like, yeah, you don't remember anything. You took maybe you took tests, maybe you didn't, maybe you passed. Whatever the knowledge was completely left you after that, after you left school. So you have no idea either.
Yeah, I lived in Pine Valley from ages 5 to 8. Is that would it have been taught in those ages?
Probably not. This feels like sort of thing that would have been taught maybe third or fourth grade, so the equivalent thereof, to the to our schools and whatnot.
Yeah, okay. Then I can't help. Well, other people live here. Other people in this bar live here. I'm gonna wave over one of the kobolds. I'm gonna see if I can wave over one of the kobolds or Well, the dwarf can't leave the door, right?
Yeah, the dwarf is camping the door, making sure it stays a little bit open.
All right, so I'm gonna see if I can wave one of the kobolds over.
Yep, one of the kobolds has come over to look at you.
Hey, have you lived here long?
Ow, my life!
Excellent. This lovely drow has some questions.
Okay. And they converse for a bit, and the kobold indeed has some knowledge of history, and he starts talking about it. Says, well, about 1,000 years ago, there used to be a king called Zaladin here. Then one day, the entire capital seemingly went dark and apparently collapsed into the ground. It's unclear exactly what happened, but it left some various lords and ladies with their holdings stranded, and the people from Lauren came down, decided that hey, we can just roll you into our system. Just you can just instead of having taxes to the king, you can give taxes to us. You can be part of our government, and most of them signed up. Some of them signed up a couple generations later, but yeah, they joined up. Most of them. Is that what you're asking about?
Where were the ones who were stranded? Like physically, where were their holdings?
Well, they would have been towns like Stormfall and whatnot. Aki kind of raises his hand and says, "That's where I'm from. That's my family's holdings." And other places like that. And he names off a couple other towns nearby. Uh, yeah, they kind of grew up into towns and settlements and small cities, that sort of thing over time. By holdings, he means like land and territory away from the central capital city. Places that would have formed other towns and villages and like big farms, that sort of stuff. It's basically all the surrounding territory in the country, and basically just the capital city when it vanished.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Then it gets sort of into like political drama and other stuff. Kind of looks at you expectantly at this point.
I'm gonna look at the drow and ask if that helps.
She kind of like lifts an eyebrow. Does that help? I'm not entirely certain, as well, you seem to have more of the pieces of the puzzle than I do at this point. I can probably help and advise if you get more pieces of said puzzle, but I do not have enough.
Well, I believe you told us that at the time that the old capital collapsed into the ground, weren't they at war with your people?
My people have been at war with many for thousands of years. It doesn't really stand out for me. This would kind of be the equivalent of asking somebody in England what the Independence Day of any random country is, and they'll just look at you or like what year said country got independent from you, and they just probably look at you and go, "How the hell should I know?" But too many countries.
Okay, but there was a war, so it might have been an act of war that caused the city to sink.
Anything's possible, but I haven't heard of anything like that with the drow, with the people that I come from. That doesn't seem to be our tactics, or else we'd be digging holes under cities all the time and dragging them into the hollows.
Fair point. Whatever was done here was definitely effective. So if it was replicable, you'd expect it to be used.
She nods.
I'm gonna be honest with you. We checked out the museum. We checked out the dig site. Although I vanished from there, so I'm not sure how thoroughly we checked out the dig site. Um, I'm happy to gather more pieces of the puzzle. I don't really know where to look.
She kind of like points at you again and says, "Well, perhaps if you find the rest of the tablets, that'll help. Clearly, that was not the only one. It seemed to be a continuation of some kind of story or message."
We haven't checked the hospital or their school yet.
She looks over at Ralph and nods. Yeah, so maybe perhaps a school would be a very wise place to check. I believe there's a library next to it, isn't there?
It's not on the map.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot to. That I think I warned you about that. I said that map is not 100%. There might be a few places missing on the map. There is actually a library sitting right next to the school. It
Okay.
should be on my main map. It might not be in the map that I handed you, and I'm very sorry about that.
That's
Sometimes
okay.
sometimes I overlook over the out of date ones. Yeah, it's not even on here. It's not even on this map. It's on a drawn map only. Go figure.
Ah,
Yeah, she says that it's like basically. I think it's because it's maybe semi-attached to the school. Like there's a section that attaches it with like junior high and high school type book library, like the children's section, and then there's public section right next to it. But there's definitely a library there.
okay.
Um, and I'm gonna just ask, I guess, if she knows anything about Akai's family, because his grandmother's a big deal, right? So I'm gonna ask just generally if there's anything
She
she's
shakes her
heard
head.
about, or if
No,
there's
I
any reason
don't
why.
know anything about the politics of surface elves. I barely know the politics of my own people that I come from. I left them a long time ago. I pretty much stay to the city and only come out here to visit my sister.
Right. Uh, we haven't gone to the prison yet either.
She kind of like sighs when you say that. Eh. If my sister is still alive, she might have become one of those things.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to tactfully point to the kid's face and go, "Do you know anything about? Have you heard anything about this?"
She kind of like looks at the kid. Let's see. What does she know? She goes, "Well, does he have a sorcerer lineage?" She kind of like reaches over and he nearly draws back for a second as she kind of cups his chin and she kind of tilts it back and forth. I have occasionally seen scale patterns on otherwise non-scaled individuals. Typically, they have draconic ancestry. Typically, they are sorcerers of various kinds. Scales tend to manifest after a while if they have a special powerful connection to said dragon ancestor.
Can give the kid an eyebrow. See if he thinks that's possible.
The kid kind of
Probably
looks at
not with.
the kid looks at you, but then he shrugs. He has no idea.
um, have you? Do you know anything about a female skeleton working with demons and devils?
She shakes her head. I don't know demonology either, or skeleton. Female, interesting. Uh, that's specific. If it's intelligent undead, then perhaps a lich or something else interesting. Dealing with demons. Well, demons do sometimes partner with very powerful individuals. And then she looks over again to where you have the tablet and says, perhaps what they were sealing away was some kind of lich or demi-lich. That's the curse that they spoke of.
I thought about that too. Would they have sealed her in a giant golden temple for any reason? And do you know of anywhere around here that would have a giant golden temple?
She shakes her head. No, I don't. Temples don't seem to be a thing in Imlarn, so a golden temple especially. That's rather strange.
Huh. Is the kobold still around?
The
Is
kobold's
he is he
standing right there.
listening?
He's listening. He's just chilling.
All right, I'm gonna ask him and ask him and Ralph about golden temples in the area.
Ralph, you can roll a history check if you like.
I don't know anything from history.
Yeah, you know nothing. You have never heard of any temples whatsoever. The kobold frowns. Like, no, I've only ever seen depictions of temples in books.
Hmm. Okay. Um, well, thank you both. Ralph, do you have any other questions?
Uh, no.
Okay, then I'm gonna try to take them both like off to a corner booth where we can be alone and talk for a minute,
All right. Do you mind if I just move all your tokens?
please.
Yeah.
All right. Put me down there.
Eh, alright. So, I don't think we should stay here. 'Cause those guys are so kid, not to freak you out, but there's someone sending dreams saying that if you're delivered to her, this will all stop. Um, and those three seem to have bought into it. So I don't think we should leave you here. We can all stay here for weeks until you heal. Um, or we can go check out this the library, the school, and maybe the prison. But I'm not the one with the major wounds, so I don't feel like I should be the one making this decision. Ralph?
Part of school would probably be a lot safer than the prison.
Unless there's more things in. Yeah, but we could also stay at the bar until you're on your feet. It'll only take 3 months. Um,
That'd be 3 months. Remember, would be 3 seasons. They do a seasonal calendar, so there's 4 seasons in a year.
fine, one season, but still. Alternatively, I could go on my own to the school, but that seems like a really bad idea. I think we should move as a group. Ralph, do you want to stay here and keep resting, or do you want to go out and try to find more clues?
Go out and find more clues. Cause like with this rule set, we'll be here for like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
Just resting.
Okay. Um, let's go try to find the school and the library. Mostly the library. Although why something a tablet from the dig would be in the library already, I don't know, but it wasn't in the museum, so
Never know with this town.
truth.
I thought it wasn't anything important, but it looked cool.
Okay. Let's go then. Oh, also, I can't go by myself because I don't know my way around the town. You're the only one who knows that. Um,
All right. Only question is, do you want to continue on to the library in this session, or do we want to wait for Jay to come back?
I'm not gonna be here next session.
This is true.
yeah, he's not going to be here next session, and I'm not going to be here the session after that because I have another all-day class on Saturday because they love doing that to us. It's the only one this quarter, but that's so we're not going to have a full house for 3 sessions. This
3
session and then
sessions.
the next 2.
Oh, but yeah, this session's
Well,
being
counting this one,
included in
yeah.
that. Okay.
Um,
All
The
right.
funny part is, the next session is gonna be my first one. I'm not gonna be here.
yeah.
So it's gonna be. Oh, that's gonna be fun. Because the other 2 characters don't know each other very well. Everything's been going through Ralph.
No, we do not. I'll let Sony decide if we keep going or not.
Yeah.
I'm good with ending it here.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear
Okay.
you. What'd you say?
Oh, I'm good with ending it here.
Okay. Because that might also go with the dilemma of because the other character knows his way around as well.
Yeah.
If he suddenly appears here and like, Ralph basically at that point would decide, you know what? Now that he's here, I am just going to rest here for until you come back. And that might actually
Or
solve
Ralph
your
could
resting issue.
disappear and magically heal while he's gone in a time slip.
Maybe,
You
but
did leave that door
unfortunately,
open.
yeah, unfortunately, that's not exactly how the time slips work. The time slips don't typically are you don't really time isn't really passing for you. That you just kind of get pulled along.
That's true.
But so that might actually work to your advantage in letting Ralph get a little bit of extra healing. So that should be
Okay.
useful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That way you're not as
Yeah.
hampered and not going to be instantly killed if something attacks you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Ralph
yeah.
can stay in the bar. It's the kid who can't. So that
Yeah.
works.
And the kid appears to be
I knew it was a risk bringing him in here.
and the kid appears to be healing in spite of the lack of medical intervention. It just seems to be healing with skills.
Yeah. Having him outside the bar will make him easier to run away from too, if we have to. So. All right. Well, thanks for the session. It was fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm glad to get progressing into the story too. 10 sessions in.
Have fun on your trip,
Oh yeah.
Stony.
Thanks.
Yeah. Enjoy reconnecting with
Oh,
an
yeah.
old friend.
Oh yeah. I've talked to him, but I haven't actually seen him for like years.
Yeah. I feel like that's a more and more normal part of adulthood with everybody living so scattered these
Yeah.
days.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks. I'm gonna get going because I'm trying to clean my apartment before school starts again. So I'm gonna vacuum before it's late enough that it's gonna make my neighbors mad.